What's up everyone, SKULM here, and in today's video I will talk about my Necromancer tier list for Season 8. Without losing any time, here's the tier list. Let's begin. Now, if you look at the tier list, you're gonna see the F tier. Now, F tier is Shadow Blight, key passive. Back in Season 0, Infinimist was the play for Nightmare Dungeon tier 100. Also in Abattoir of Zir, Infinimist was the play with the Shadow Blight key passive, but over time, the lucky hit chance of Corpse Explosion has been nerfed, alongside with other changes, and the Shadow Blight key passive is just not strong as the other versions, other builds. Also, the addition of the Affliction key passive is dominating Shadow builds in general. So on the F tier, we have Shadow Blight builds, the old Infinimist, and what have you. Now, we're gonna jump to C tier, obviously. Bone Spirit used to be the king during Season 5 and Season 6. Bone Spirit was once a great build. I especially loved the two-hander Bone Spirit version that utilized a two-hander mace and also Essence on Kill tech with the Bone Prison. For those of you that have been subscribed to my channel for a long time and who have followed me during Season 5, you will remember that I played a two-hander Bone Spirit. You could spawn your Bone Prison, and then if you press your Bone Prison again, it would actually kill the Bone Prison, which would count as a minion, which would count as Essence on Kill. And with your gear, when you despawn Bone Prison, you would shoot your essence up back to full again. This was an amazing tech. I loved two-hander Bone Spirit. I still miss it. And I never liked the one-hander rapid fire Bone Spirit version that much, to be fair. My personal favorite Bone Spirit version is that two-hander mace, big hitter, hard hitter Necromancer. I would really love to see that spec come back, reworked, and rival Shadow Blood Wave. That would be awesome. Unfortunately, Bone Spirit is in C tier because it takes a lot of gear and investment, which does not yield satisfactory results. Dominate Glyph has been nerfed in Season 8 and it will hit Bone Spirit even harder. Also, most of the meta Bone Spirit builds do not use the Flesh Eater legendary node because we just do not consume corpses. We play around other stuff. BBB board is one of them, Frailty is one of them, and Bone Graft and the starter board, you get the point. So Bone Spirit, I think, needs some love, especially the two-hander Bone Spirit, which is my favorite, could easily rival Shadow Blood Wave if played correctly. Blizzard just needs to buff this, make the two-hander Bone Spirit come alive again and rival Shadow Blood Wave one day, maybe, hopefully. Now I'm gonna jump to B tier. On B tier, you will see Blighted Corpse Explosion and the Summon Necromancer build variants. I have put these builds into the B tier. Both of these builds are great for leveling and early pit pushes. So, early pits, things are easy to kill. You can actually force your way through it. So these builds are great for that. However, these builds do not have enough damage for high pits. The high pit pushing is a different story. These builds, again, are great for killing low life enemies, easier difficulties. The latest changes to the Flesh Eater legendary node, you can actually now refresh the duration of Flesh Eater. And also, Scent of Death legendary node has been reworked as well. You get 15x damage reduction and 30% x critical strike damage. These two changes benefit the Summon Necromancer. The Summon Necromancer might drop BBB, Blood Begets Blood board, because the Summon Necromancer doesn't have much source to create blood orbs. Usually you use the Corpse Tendril Blood Orb upgrade, and you basically rely on that to spawn the blood orbs, and you run around and collect it for 50x damage. you could easily slot in Scent of Death and gain permanent 30x damage that way, which would be super good for Mandelen version as well. I have to run the math. I did not do the math, but for practical reasons, collecting blood orbs is a time loss for the Summon Necromancer. Scent of Death provides 15% X damage reduction, which is something the Summon Necromancer also needs. And with the damage reduction, it also provides permanent 30x critical strike damage. This might be super practical. I have to test it. This is not my final result yet, but it's attractive enough. That's all I want to say. And also, it's good for leveling. When leveling your Summon Necromancer, you could play Scent of Death, gain damage reduction and free damage. And then maybe for the high pit pushes or pit pushes, you can change your boards. I have to do the tests, but they're B tier for sure. I also want to talk about the new Necromancer weapon, the Sanguivore. This weapon was created for the Summon Necromancers, but this sword, which is the new Necromancer unique weapon, has been buffed. But this won't be enough, because Grandfather will still be the best weapon for summons. Especially if you're playing a mage, skeletal mage build, Grandfather is just unbeatable because of the 100% X critical strike damage multiplier. So Grandfather is gonna be the reigning king for the Summon Necromancer, according to my calculations, of course. But Sanguivore, the new Necromancer Summon Necromancer weapon, may be used in a niche build that spams Army of the Dead while sacrificing minions. But in my opinion, that's just bad design, to be fair. Like, it's a Summon Necromancer weapon. The nature of that weapon shouts Summon Necromancer. So I think Blizzard really needs to pay attention to the Summon Necromancer, show some love, and buff it even further, so that we will take it to the next tier, which is A tier. Now, as you can see, A tier builds can do all the things of the previous tier, and they can also push the pits. Now, on the lower end of the A tier, we have Bloodlands and Sever. For Bloodlands, they did some buffs, but the buffs will not be enough to carry Bloodlands to high A tier, because I will explain the recent changes to the Flesh Eater as well as the Scent of Death, especially Flesh Eater, will heavily benefit Blood Spear and Blood Surge. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. I am also going to talk about Sever. Sever is still okay, but there are better options. However, the recent change to the Terror skill will benefit Sever. And I kind of like this. This is like a dark horse change that is going to benefit Sever. So Sever is on the A tier still. I think it's a strong build, and I like to see that build perform, to be fair. Now, let's talk about the recent changes to the Flesh Eater legendary node. Now, when you consume a corpse, you will just refresh this buff. It is going to have a higher uptime. Back in the old days, you would consume 5 corpses and then you would gain the buff for 6 seconds. After 6 seconds, the buff would run out, and then you'd have to farm or consume 5 corpses again. Now, naturally, Blood Surge and Blood Spear excel at this because they have automatic corpse consumption mechanics. They achieve this through unique items. Blood Spear has unique pants called Indra's Memory. This makes your Bone Spear become a Blood Spear, which also consumes corpses when cast. It's amazing because Bone Spear has a huge lucky hit chance. And then in your skills, you take Hewed Flesh, and Hewed Flesh is a passive corpse generator. So by clicking a button, you generate corpse and then you consume them at the same time. It's flawless. It's a great design. I love designs like this. Another perfect example is the unique item Courier's Embrace. These are unique gloves used by Blood Surge Necromancers. The Blood Surge automatically consumes these corpses and spawns more Blood Surge. Like, designs like this are chef's kiss. It's amazing. That's why these builds are gonna be high A tier, because they're gonna have natural high pace gaming by clicking only one button. It's perfect. I love it. So Blood Surge is amazing at speed farming easy content, while it can do some pits as well. But Blood Spear can do higher pits than Blood Surge. It is becoming even better now because there were a lot of bugs previously, and now they are fixing these bugs. In the patch notes, they said they fix it, and there will be some changes to the Flesh Eater Paragon node, legendary node. The Dominate Glyph nerf will be a minor setback for Blood Spear. Therefore, for high pits bossing, this might become a bit problematic for the Blood Spear. But at the end of the day, I think it's going to be a very powerful and fun build to play. I kind of like it. Now, of course, S tier. S tier means super powerful. This season, there is no S plus build that I'm promoting. I don't think there is going to be an S plus build. Now, Shadow Blood Wave is still a great build because you can clear the new difficulty, difficult pit 100 and plus without the boss powers. At the first night of the PTR, at the moment they released it, I just jumped into the Eternal Realm. I was a bit ill, and without the boss powers, without the boost vendor, I immediately cleared pit 100 plus. Without any boss powers, without any boost vendor, just entered, did some change, bam bam bam, easy peasy. The 200% X cap on Blood Wave is still not gonna be enough. It's actually, the build is actually still good. This cap actually destroys other builds, such as the Army of the Dead, you know? It actually hurts other builds way more. I think Blizzard should apply different damage caps. So Blood Wave could be capped at 200% X, whereas Army of the Dead could be capped at, I don't know, 500% X, so that there is more attraction or fair playing ground, so that other builds can also rise up and rival Blood Wave, for example. The recent changes to the terror skill will definitely help Shadow Blood Wave because we're gonna be using Shadow Blood Wave, obviously. So it makes your Blood Wave become a darkness skill and gain benefits of the Shadow abilities as well. So the good news is this build right now in Season 8 will be easier to play compared to Season 7 because personally I dropped Igni and Cax. In Season 7, if you follow me, you know that you'd have to cast, and so you could actually gain your resource, the runic resource, from Igni, which would proc Cax, and once your Cax is ready, you would press your Blood Wave. Now, on Season 8, we're gonna use Ahu. We're gonna use Ahu rune, which relies heavily on lucky hits, so Blighted Corpse Explosion is gonna be extremely important to proc Ahu, as well as the Shadow Blood Wave ticks themselves have their own lucky hit, as well as Blight has its own lucky hit. So Ahu becomes the generator, and then we combine Ahu with Cax. So Ahu and Cax are gonna be super synergized, okay? So this will make a more straightforward playstyle in Season 8, all right? So the build will no longer rely on damage while fortified and coalesced blood, because obviously Blood Wave rank 5 bonus is capped at 200% X. So our amulet will change. Back in Season 7, according to my own calculations, I said coalesced blood was your top priority, followed by Tides of Blood, followed by Gloom. And I personally basically favored coalesced blood over anything else. Right now this is going to change because we're gonna hit 200% X cap very fast without needing coalesced blood, without needing damage while fortified tempers. So we're gonna be prioritizing on Season 8, we're gonna be prioritizing Tides of Blood, which is gonna be our top priority, triple masterwork and GA, so it's +7 Tides of Blood. This will be the best choice. After Tides of Blood, we're gonna be going for Gloom, because Shadow Blood Wave is also a darkness ability with the aspect, the ultimate shadow, it makes it a darkness ability, so Gloom applies. And finally, it's either gonna be percent intelligence or coalesced blood. Still, I have to run the math, but I think they're gonna be super close in terms of value. I still have to run the math, but I'm just gonna say percent intelligence. to be fair, because we're gonna lose the soul harvest witch power, and once we lose this, we're gonna be dropping intelligence a lot, and intelligence improves our skill damage. So I think personally, I think I'm gonna go for percent intelligence, but I'm not quite sure yet. I have to do the math, but both are fine. To be fair, I don't think there's gonna be a much difference. Percent intelligence or coalesce blood, up to you. I'm gonna go with percent intelligence most likely. I may change that in the future. So our new temper for this build is going to be blood over power damage instead of damage while fortified, because we're going to be easily able to reach 200% X damage cap. So blood over power damage will try to compensate for this. It won't, let me tell you, because back in season 7 damage while fortified was the temper to run, because it would pump up blood wave rank 5 bonus, which was a multiplicative bonus without any cap. Right now, blood over power damage is just additive bonus, and the additive bonus itself is not going to be competing against the benefit you would get from season 7, obviously. So we're just trying to salvage whatever we can from the season 8 nerfs to make blood wave still S tier build. And it is going to be an S tier build. I think it might be the strongest build in the entire game. So this Shadow Blood Wave, this build can do high pits and bossing, obviously, normally. For speed farming, we can still use fast blood aspect on a substitute ring. Normally, if I want to, let's say, farm Opticide or speed farm something, I just replace one of my rings with another substitute ring with fast blood aspect on it. Instead of just changing aspects back and forth, I just have a substitute ring on my stash. I just take that ring out, put it on, go do my speed farm the mats, and then when it's pit time, I go back to my original pit build. Okay, so I will provide a build planner. The link will be down below in the video description and also in the pinned comment, so check that out. It's always going to be updated. I still have to do a lot of math. I still have to do a lot of calculation. I will keep updating the build, but there's going to be a build planner for Season 8 for Shadow Blood Wave. It is going to be the S tier build. It is going to be one of the strongest build in the entire game, according to my opinion. So for leveling, if you want to level your Necromancer fast, my recommendation is minions. Minions, they will be still, I think they will be the best choice for leveling, because you don't rely on items that much when you're leveling with minions, and your minions are quite powerful. They're quite strong, especially for leveling, early leveling and early pits. So I recommend minions for sure. Alternatively, if you find good aspects, you can make an early transition to Blood Search as well. So depending on what you find, you can actually go Blood Search as well. So minions or Blood Search, I recommend playing minions. It's easy peasy. So once you start finding good items, you can transition to Shadow Blood Wave. And to transition to Shadow Blood Wave and actually get some high pace, you really need to find fast blood aspects. The unique pants have been nerfed to the ground. The 300% damage has been eradicated, but still we want Kesime's Legacy because it reduces the Blood Wave cooldown. It gives you Blood Wave chance to do double damage and all that good stuff, all that juicy stuff. So Kesime is still good, but again, fast blood aspect is usually what you're looking for, especially for the early versions of the build, which would help you speed farm and get on your feet. Anyway, and I have a wish for Season 9. I would really love if Blizzard could bring back Two-Hander Bone Spirit. Two-Hander Bone Spirit could be a great rival to Shadow Blood Wave, because they are both heavy hitters. They hit very hard. They have some downtime, and once this downtime is over, they're gonna hit hard again. I really want Blizzard to bring back Two-Hander Bone Spirit. I love Bone Spirit. I love Bone Spirit. It was amazing, the Two-Hander version. Okay, so that's it for this video. You have the tier list, you have the builds. Now you know what it's gonna look like. I will keep releasing videos, I will keep releasing runs, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.